Welcome to VlogZaa. So some people know about Vlogmas, Vlog-M-A-S, where they celebrate 25 days before Christmas. Well, this is VlogZaa. We are going to be celebrating every day one of the principles of the day of Kwanzaa. And we're going to be trying to put out a video every single day that celebrates each principle. We're going to be lighting a candle. We're going to be having a discussion, even if it's all of us, or it's just me and Pèlé, or it's just me talking to Pèlé, or me talking to a wall. Whatever it is, we're going to have a discussion about the principle of Kwanzaa, and we invite you to come along on this adventure of celebrating us. Human species all have an African roots. Recognizing that, coming together around that, and recognizing all of our lineages as extensions that can be harmonious with that root. All right, stay tuned.
A voice calling from within our core.
What are we here for? We realize that our power lies
And how we live our lives.
and how we choose to show up.
So we choose to show up as rooted crowns. And this is our living prayer. Prayer from the earth,
On a path to reclaim our name.
nature, ancestral medicine to heal our home. We sow this prayer in our bodies between many hands and upon our land.
In direct response to self-hate for scarce and ecological discordancy.
But it's simple for real. We plant fruit forests and concrete jungle.
Inspiring youth through the selfish struggle.
Nourishing our bodies as living proof.
Sharing all we do to amplify this truth.
Yeah, we documenting it all.
Bringing it to you so we can feel this call. The first new line.
Yeah, we standing tall, rooted crowns. Let's rock with it, y'all.
Pèlé, look, fire.
He loves fire.
All right, so
Black one is the first.
we're lighting this for Umoja.
Now the definition,
Right.
to strive for and maintain unity in the family, community, nation, and race. And that race ultimately is the human race.
Right, and that's what we want to talk about. So we'll leeway into this video. Happy Kwanzaa, everyone. Habari gani.
Umoja.
So when we say Habari gani, we mean what's the news. And we say the day that it is. And today, if you are a patron, you'll be seeing this today. And if you're not, which you should be, patreon.com/RootedCrowns. If you're not a patron, you'll be seeing this the next day. But today is
Umoja.
I'm waiting for him to stop whining. Umoja. Loves Jackie.
Okay.
Oh, sure, I mean, alright, great. You're not okay, I can put it on. I've had many videos.
Yeah.
So. Umoja. So my father was saying earlier about the human race and how that's really, what it ultimately boils down to. And if y'all know, if y'all been following our work, y'all will know that our work is called fundamentally Wellsprings of Umoja. And it's not because we're trying to ascribe this to the human race, but we want to acknowledge that the human race is all fundamentally African. That's where all of humanity comes from. Now, I'm not trying to force anybody to identify in any way, one way or another, but I do think it's important for us to acknowledge our common ancestry, because then we can apply principles like Kwanzaa, or like the fundamental principles that are pervasive among all egalitarian cultures that are still in Africa right now, that are still peaceful, that haven't been colonized or have brought themselves together post-colonization. They sort of have similar principles that they live by that keeps them in an African state. At least, I mean, it's all relative. It's hard for me to say what is African, but the way that I relate to Africanness is the fact that it brings us all together as a species. And I think that that's important for unity, and that's what Umoja means to me. And then it's really funny because with that, then we have Pèlé, who as you see, we'll put these clips in where, he's celebrating Kwanzaa, yes, but he's also celebrating Christmas with our family.
We'll find it hard to sleep tonight.
And Kwanzaa with Lev's family. Hanukkah with Lev's family. But so he's been celebrating all, and in a way Pèlé is representing, even though we all have Like, we're all human. So all of human experience is a part of our human reality. Like, we are all, like, that's in our lineage, whether it's vertical or horizontal, you know, going from the past or over basic. What's going on now is a part of our human reality, in my understanding of Umoja. So, but even with that, Pèlé is experiencing this almost palpably, at least with all the Abrahamic religions. Like, my father being Muslim, my mom being Christian, Lev's family being Jewish, and us having our own conglomerate of things. Like, it's really giving Pèlé and like a way of relating to existence that's very Umoja-like. So that's how we're approaching today.
Yeah, and you know, one of the beautiful things that I've, you know, kind of gravitated towards in my journey, and you know, through my travels, and even coming back to Baltimore and connecting with, you know, African-centered people, is that oftentimes it's like the beautiful thing about it, whether it was I was in Cuba or Brazil, it's like you go to these people's houses who have very diverse ancestry, and you see something, you see an artifact or a practice or a tradition that they have, or you know, that honors each and every aspect of themselves. You know, they may practice traditional African spirituality, but you know, also lay down tobacco for their, you know, Taino or you know, and the ancestors of that land. As they may have a Chinese ancestor, and so they throw a Chinese name in one of their middle names, or they, you know, just shout out Yusmita. But yeah, you know, it's just there's this aspect of like, oh, you got this, and you know, in our ancestry we got this, and that. How can we throw it all together in a beautiful, you know, beautiful fusion of culture that is that honors every aspect of ourselves and is inclusive. You know, every time I've been to these spaces, it's like, oh, you're being called here, come and join. You're welcome. So that's, you know, a beautiful thing, rather than spaces that are more reductionist or exclusive in their nature.
Right. And that also makes me think, like, something I never thought about before, but I think it's important, is like I wanna I wanna honor more of my lineage too. You know, we were talking about this with my grandparents and my great parents and writing it down, but I wanna honor and like forgive the people who had slave master roles, you know, and I want to like recognize that there's probably people in my lineage who fought, you know, colonizers in Europe, you know, when they were first starting out, like people of the same complexion fighting each other to try to keep one from colonizing the others. You know, some that were still acknowledging their lineage is like, no, we're Swiss, or we're, you know, all the other ones that are there. Like, I want to acknowledge that I'm sure that we have in our lineage very, like, multiple levels of the spectrum of humanity, you know? And so, because for me, like, it's just, I'm so, like, it always confuses me because I know that I have so much dynamism in my lineage, but because of the color of my skin, you know, I'm a light-skinned black person, and I'm like, well, yes, because black isn't an exclusive term, and I have so many other things that are an extension of my African lineage. We all are extensions of our African lineage, and we get to honor them and not be like, you know, if we happen to still be acknowledged for our blackness because our spectrum of skin is just that far enough, if we're still acknowledged, to be like, and nothing else matters, you know? Like, I know so many people, we know of people who have like mixed lineage, but they're like, no, but I'm black. Like, and that other thing, that's that, but I'm black. You know, it's like, instead of having this, like, I'm righteous if I acknowledge this and disregard this, being like, I'm righteous because I acknowledge this within all people, and I honor my extension as something that can be symbiotic or harmonious because I acknowledge our roots and everyone else's.
One of the reasons that we place so much emphasis in these ideas of Kwanzaa, etc., is because so much of our recent history as a people has been going through a denial of the humanity of the people of African lineage. And we are taught in this society that something's wrong with you
Right.
if you are part African. I had an uncle who actually said that to me.
Mm-hmm.
He says, you know, we got two kinds of people, he would say. We got the Afros and the Euros.
Right.
And he says, and the Afros got something wrong with them, was his fundamental position.
Mm-hmm.
Which is, you know, again, the kind of distorted, self-hating
Right.
Psychology
Mm-hmm.
that holds us to keep us from fulfilling our true potential as human beings,
Right.
as people who have the capacity to
Mhm.
do whatever any other people do, and in fact to lead people into another range, another level altogether.
I mean, I agree, and I also feel like all people have that self-hate, and that's why so many people disregard even people on the motherland who have that self-hate.
Mhm.
People who call themselves white. Like, I don't call any people white because of this, because that's not real. You have African lineage. Like, the whole concept of a fraction, that's not real. There's no certain people who have a fraction of Africanness and other people who don't. We all have predominantly African heritage. Like, human existence was in Africa the longest it's been on this planet. Like, we don't exist
Before any migrations
before
happened,
any migrations happen.
every one of us
everyone
shares common ancestry.
on the motherland for like 80% or 75% of human existence, human history as Homo sapiens. So it's just, to me, it's like that self-hate exists because we think that there is something other than this, which is not. And people think that they can somehow escape this African root, which is not real. And so for me, like, I think all people should see themselves as an extension of that fundamental African root. So that's our work. That's Lev and and potentially Pèlé, if he chooses to, walk in this path. Our work of Wellsprings of Umoja, of Umoja being the unity, and Wellsprings being the overflowing wellness, abundance of honoring that unity. And that's what we want to celebrate. So yay!
And it's not utopia. Well, one reason I say that is because we've had people along the way who fell off because their personal relationship, and I'm thinking about some of the mothers who say, "Oh, I don't be there. It's not real," but it's because they've been hurt by someone who's celebrating it.
Right. Yeah.
So it's not for people to get involved if it's just based on another person. If it's not based within, I want to grow. I want to be part of that. They won't hold up.
And that's why we want to do this, like, not just even these videos, but every year we want to have him have an experience through the principles on video with other people, so that they can stop thinking of it as just us sitting around and talking, but they can understand that we're like reflecting on these principles, and they can reflect through experiences, and so they can grow even if they aren't willing to come together. And that's why we're doing this.
Got some Edge Ethiopian honey wine in honor of the day to celebrate with a treat.
Woohoo!
Woo-hoo.
Cute little cups.
This is
a little of
He
the cup.
doesn't
This-
drink for real.
Oh, okay.
That's enough. That's enough.
This is just so we don't just drink it, and
Like you would. We wouldn't. Well, I wouldn't. But you really would.
you would.
That is an ice cream cup, Lev. You got an ice cream cup.
This
Okay.
is a cup.
That's all right.
6 bridges.
It's not strong at all, Dad.
Say that now.
So cheers. You want to get the cheers?
Is there a culturally relevant way to say cheers right now?
Harambe.
Oh yeah,
Harambe.
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 Means all pulled together.
Let's all pull together and drink. It's good. It's sweet, isn't
It is sweet.
Celebrating the reflection of your proposal last year at the Kwanzaa.
It's having right here, us sitting
Right
just
here.
like we are
it?
here.
Yeah, sure. We said it like this.
Hold
Just
in.
tickle me.
this candle.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It was really sweet. Reenactment. And I was like, ah.
And everybody was like,
Yeah, that was a moment. Everybody was here. Will remember.
Everybody, yeah.
And it also helped to emphasize how central this holiday season and this idea of the holiday is to our family culture. You know,
Yeah.
and it's something that it's the one thing, the one specific kind of activity that we know we do as a family. You know, and it's exciting in that respect. It's so thrilling and affirming for me. And when I see you engaging in this, when I see our grandchildren and now the great grandchildren, you know, following in line and knowing and knowing that this is a part of their culture, their heritage.
Yeah.
You know, it's not something that we're pulling out the air. You know, it means something to us.
Right.
So that's
Yeah.
the other part of it is that, remember, the Kwanzaa is not a religious holiday. It's not a holiday centered around any heroes or sheroes or any other personality. It's about the idea of us as a people being able to resurrect and reconstruct our own perspective of our humanity. And that's, you know, something that goes beyond. And I will always be grateful to Maulana Karinga, you know, for his contribution of this holiday.
And, you know, it was so clear to me that this was such a central, like, affirming piece of not only Ife's identity, but like your identity as a family. That it was like the, you know, part of the glue that just, you know, that not only kept y'all together, but also gave y'all a sense of pride and, you know, in expressing who you are and investigating who you are. And, you know, one thing I love about Kwanzaa, which I said last year, was I just love how there's something, it just feels familiar. Like, even though I didn't grow up with it, but being in it and experiencing it, it's just like, it just seems like a holiday that is a formula for self and community empowerment. And it's a beautiful thing when our holidays can be opportunities to build and to self-reflect and to, you know, to really pull our energies together in a focused way with principles that are, you know, I don't think anybody can not relate to unity. I don't think anybody can't relate to self-determination, collective work and responsibility, cooperative economics. These are all like super relevant terms. You know, creativity, faith. You know, it's just like they're purpose. You know?
That's okay. That's all right. But you were hitting it.
Right.
You were hitting it. You were right on it.
6 out of 7.
You know,
it's just.
And I'm sure that as you all continue your production of your videos, etc., you're going to spend some time with each of those principles.
Right.
Oh yeah.
And help to, you know, look at what do they mean. The reason why we celebrate Kwanzaa, we've been celebrating Kwanzaa as a family for at least 47, 48 years.
Yeah.
You know,
Janaki was born.
before Janaki was born. And even though my coming into this family didn't occur until 30 some years ago, I also had been a part of a community that was participating and celebrating Kwanzaa, going back as long as early as about 1974, 73, in my own experiences. So that was one of the things that actually brought us together, was our shared recognition and consciousness that is reflected in the Kwanzaa ceremony, in the Kwanzaa celebration.